everyone, this is Build Series, and I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. The new Netflix film Sextuplets tells the story of Alan, a man in search of his birth family who gets more than he bargained for when he discovers that he's actually a sextuplet. From an ex-con to an evil genius, Marlon Wayans transformed into all 6 siblings, and he joins us today to talk about the film. But first, here's a trailer.
My whole life, I always wondered what my birth family was like.
Open it.
My mama had 6 babies at the same time.
We're sextuplets.
Maybe one of them changed their name to Idris Elba. You know, we do have strikingly similar bone structures.
You're my brother, Russell.
Come here, bro.
This is awkward.
Oh, shit.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! I decided to join you to fight our siblings. Good night, Alan.
Ah! Hey, man, you naked.
The buck is beautiful.
Boy, if you don't put some damn clothes on.
Look around.
So you're a stripper? What the hell? A stripper and exotic dance are different. See this? Plie, releve, ass on face.
Please don't do that.
Drop, yeah, don't stop.
Ethan? You smell like money, huh? No, you got Republican money, huh?
Hey. You know I'm a Bernie bro.
Ooh, you shop at Whole Foods.
I am free! I was about to El Chapo this bitch. Oh my God, it feels so...
Housewives of Atlanta is this.
Thank you, brother!
Baby Peter's in the hospital.
Not every day that a long-lost family member appears out of thin air. Donate a kidney.
You said what? Why you gotta take my kidney? Why don't you take one of theirs? Don't look at me, because I sniffed way too much laptop cleaner and I popped a Molly yesterday. I want some Molly.
Just gotta find the rest of them.
Good slide!
I always wanted to do that. These past few days have been the greatest of my life.
My dude.
Since we hit the road together, I've done things I've only seen on television.
Pillow fight! Now that's how you pillow fight!
Please help me welcome Marlon Wayans.
How y'all doing?
How are you doing?
I was sleeping in the car. That's why when I walked in, I looked like a bratty kid. I was tired.
You did walk in like a kid looking for breakfast.
I was tired. I've been up since 3 o'clock. No, 6 o'clock this morning. I flew in last night after working all day. I flew in at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I didn't get much sleep.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being here because I obviously see how much of your passion you put into your work. So I know you probably are just in a grind right now promoting this film.
Yeah.
And you also star in every major role in the film and you co-wrote it. And
I got tired of splitting the money with my brothers. I wanted all the check for me.
Well, you also produced it, you co-wrote it, and you star. I mean, so where did this idea come from? What was like the starting point for this?
I don't know. It was a script that Mike Locke had sent to me me and Rick years ago. Rick Alvarez, my producing partner. And we read it, and it was like, yo, that's really interesting, you know, to play 6 characters. I was like, it's a challenge, but if we pull this off, it'll be really great. And, you know, as far as I come from sketch and come from parody, and I've been doing characters for years, you know what I mean? It's like, and it really, I use all my theatrical performing arts high school training to do this movie. It looks like, oh, it's just this little fun, little crazy movie where you jump. It is the hardest thing I ever did. I worked 7 hours a day, just doing makeup, 7 hours. Then we film for 15 to 18 hours. Then it takes an hour and a half to take the makeup off. Then I would go home and sleep 2.5 hours. I'd have to be back on set to do 7 hours of makeup before everybody came in to work another 18 hours. In the process for 50 days.
That's more than hours in the day. I mean, you're
slaves got paid more than me.
I actually had the opposite reaction when I was watching this. I was like, this does not look easy. This looks like so much work, and only few actors, I think, could pull this off. I mean, I think there's a small pool of actors and comedians who could perform this. So I was
Just
very
a
impressed.
pool of very smart people that won't do something like this. This is you have to hate part of yourself to do something like this. I think I hate me. I really think I'm insane. Like, I didn't know. I really felt like, and I always feel like, I think everybody has a crazy. And I feel like my crazy is what drives me to work. And I realized I was crazy and insane when I was halfway through this movie. And I realized I didn't break character the whole time. I never was in Dawn makeup and started doing Russell. I never was Alan doing Jasper. Each character, once I was there, I was there. And then when they say cut, I'm back to Marlon. And then in action, I'm back. I always improvise as the character. And it is very hard because I was acting by myself. So sometimes you'll have like a stand-in. Each person had a stand-in or somebody that you could film the back of their neck, like a double. But some of the doubles wasn't actors. So I've like real theatrical actor. We was like, they were reading lines, but it was not in my cadence and I couldn't react to it. So I had to react, act it out, show them how to act it out. They couldn't do it sometime, or if they did do it, I would still have to show them exactly how I'm gonna do Dawn, because then when I'm doing Alan in the scene, if she touches my head, I gotta go like that. And I gotta know exactly when she's doing that for me to do that. So it's a crazy experience. And I mean, it's different. Everybody's like, oh, it's like the Clumps and Night Professor. And it's like, no, it's way different. The characters are different. The story is different. The technology is different. Like, and don't get me wrong, Eddie Murphy deserved an Oscar for what he did in Night Professor. He was amazing. One of the greatest comedic performances I've ever seen. But this one's different because the cameras are moving. I'm in the scene with myself. It's not locked off one character at a time. No, I'm in the scene, 3 of me at one time, interacting, camera moving. So it's like the Clumps meet the Avengers.
It is really intense. How did you guys approach filming? Like, did you film all of Dawn and then you get it like, but it's, I would imagine, so
Girl,
you have
that
to
makes
constantly
sense.
switch in and out of character.
What you said makes sense. We didn't make no damn sense at all.
Yeah.
We was like, okay, it's about location. When you film a movie, if you have a location for a weekend, a location for 50 days, you have this location. We're gonna film at the gas station, and we're gonna film it for 3 days. And we have these three characters that we have to do and stunts. So we're gonna film Dawn first because Dawn is leading the scene. Once Dawn does all stuff, then Alan can react to her. And then Russell is watching all that. He's reacting to them. And then you bring them all together. So you asked me how I did it. I don't know. I think I died.
I love the intensity that you were talking about this movie with, because it was a lot of work.
I've never worked this hard in my life. And you're talking about a guy that's been a little person and a white woman. I thought White Chicks was hard. Like, White Chicks this was White Chicks times 6. And it was harder because in White Chicks, we didn't have 60 pounds of makeup that I had to carry around. So we're filming in 100-degree weather, and I'm dressed as this guy in these corduroy pants, and this suit is like 60 pounds. And I'm already sweating up underneath here. It's tough.
I'm interested in how you guys develop these characters. Are these impersonations and characters that you had already done previously and you wrote them in? Or were these characters that were written and then you had to sort of decide who they are?
All created, like, brand new. The only one, like, Russell's created with a voice. My college friend, Steve, he has this voice, sounds like he has a deviated septum, so I always thought that his voice was really funny, especially for a strange character. So I just wanted to kind of do a different kind of character, someone that's quiet more, something more subtle. So I picked his voice to go with this body. And then everybody else, Dawn is like 2 of my sisters. I'm not going to say which 2, because I don't want them to figure out which one, because I don't want to be sued. So there's 2 of my sisters locked in one, and all the hand movements I got with Dawn, because that's what all the girls be doing now, but it's real. So then Ethan, what I like about Ethan most is that he looks most like Alan, and he actually he cuts his hair off and tries to steal Alan's identity to steal his woman and his life and his money. Welcome to family. And so what I liked about Ethan is Alan is kind of like me. He's a, put together kind of dude. But Ethan's shady, you know what I mean? Like, even though they look alike, you could tell that Ethan ain't Alan. That's the thing. He's criminal ass, And that's what's dope about these characters. And then Babe Pete, he's sick. So yeah, Babe Pete, he's sick. He needs a kidney, which he steals from Alan.
I spit out my water when he's like, yeah, you look just like him.
Yeah, we look just alike. Same legs. Yeah, same legs, same hair follicles. And then Jasper, I thought if I wanted to play the black sheep in the family, I wanted to do something different. So I wanted to have him be sinister and have him be light-skinned and freckled. Because he looks a little cray-cray.
Little Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, and so he was a lot of fun because I never played somebody so dark. And what's fun for me when I watch the movie is to watch the four of them in one scene, and you step outside of it for a second as an audience member, you go, yo, that's one guy playing all those people, and they're all interacting, and it looks like they're all in a scene together. And that, to me, when I first saw the movie, all I cared about was the believability. Like, if I walk into this, do I, as an audience member, am I losing myself in the journey? Or am I looking going, oh, that's Marlon, that's Marlon, that's Marlon. And as soon as you meet Russell, and him and Russell and Alan at the door talking together, you completely immerse yourself in the movie. And it's like, okay, I'm fine with it because they're so different. And that, to me, was what I really wanted to convey.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because there's, towards the end of the movie, it's almost the final scene where you get to see a lot of people together, and there's even somebody else who you play, take on. And I was like, that is Marlon, and it's all in one scene, and you're all playing together, and they're cutting the camera from here. It's like an action scene, and I was just really in awe. So you had that same feeling when you watch it, though.
Yeah,
wow.
I was like, yo, I don't know how he did that. Like, for real, I always watch movies, and I don't watch my movies and say me. I always watch my movies, and I watch him, and I watch his performance. Like me watching myself, but as a critic going, what do I feel about your performance as a critic and as an audience member? And I really enjoyed the performance on this because all the characters are so different. And I was allowed, like, for me, there's the one movie I was able to use everything that I ever learned from Performing Arts High School to In Living Color to Scary Movie to White Chicks to Little Man, all wrapped up in a journey called Sextuplets.
And I just think it's also really fun to explore these sibling dynamics. And I know you come from a really big family. You're the youngest.
And that too, being 47 years of having siblings. Yeah, that and what's great is the message in it because, your little brother may steal your kidney, but I would steal Sean's kidney. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's your family. And if you learn to love your family, it prepares you for greater love with other people and even, family, continuous family, like your children. I think me and my brothers and sisters, we're good mothers and fathers because we've been good brothers and sisters to each other. Yeah.
What do you think was the impact on you being the youngest specifically? Because
abuse,
right?
Damn them Negroes.
Comedic family, everybody's multi-talented. You're the baby. What was that experience like for you?
You would think I'd have been coddled. Here's the thing I always say. I'm the youngest. And my brother's gonna disagree with me. I'm the youngest. My brother Sean is the baby. Because I was the youngest, everybody always felt bad for Sean because he was second youngest. So everybody treated me like garbage because I was like mama's baby. And Sean was sick and he had asthma a lot when he was little. So my mom would always pet Sean and he'd always be on her lap. And I used to go to the lap and look and be like, well, damn, I thought I was the baby. I think he was playing sick. But end of the day, I think the experience of being the youngest, I learned a lot. I don't know There are expectations on me, but at the same time, I feel like those great expectations make me work harder and strive harder to make them proud. It was the hardest thing to ever do, is make all 10 of your siblings proud. So that's something that you strive to do and you just get better at, and you just keep working and keep grinding to one day, you know, we all contributed to that legacy of Wayans, but, you know, one day I hope to be Marlon, that, you know, each one has their own identity. I'm just working for mine. Yeah.
Do you ever ask your brothers or Kim, like, for notes on anything that you do, or is it very separate?
I used to, but you know, I can't grow without learning to gauge and figure things out myself. If I'm always waiting for notes, then I'm not really expressing truly who I am as an artist. You know, I doubt, you know, is a weird example, but I don't know if Michael Jackson sat down with Marlon Jackson and was like, hey man, listen to this beat. Dum 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 dum. I'm gonna go hee hee hee. I don't think that's a good thing to say, Michael. See, you don't get the hee. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, I don't know if you can express those things. Sometimes you just think you got to just show it, and then they see it and go, oh man, that he, that worked. It worked there. So I know for me that a bird has to learn to fly on its own. And this last 6 years of my journey has been Marlon. I've written and produced, along with my producing partner, Rick Alvarez, 6 movies. And this is my, actually 5 movies. This is our 5th one. And, you know, created my TV show, Marlon. I did my first special. I'm touring. I'm getting better as an artist, and I see the growth, and it's making me more excited and more hungry to continue to grow.
Yeah, I think it's always cool to look at the evolution of somebody's career. And like you said, the last 7 years, and I can feel that as a fan of yours. I've seen you feel like it's more rooted in who Marlon is. And even on your Instagram, you're always like, I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
And I think that's so inspiring. So you're just getting started. Like, what are you looking forward to? What is a way you want to challenge yourself going forward?
I think my career is weird because I've been famous for 30 years now, right? But when I first got famous, those were my first years actually doing it. Before you get famous in old Hollywood, you had to actually work in comedy clubs for 10 to 15 to 20 years. So you had all that experience, right? And then you start writing movies, and then you start writing TV, and then you get opportunity to be in movies, and then my career is all the way backward. I started out famous on Living Color, fresh out of college, with some acting experience from high school. And then I jumped right into movies and started writing movies, started writing TV shows, produced and starred in Wayans Brothers with my brother Sean. We created that show when we was 19 and 20 years old. Don't Be a Menace. We wrote that. We was like 20 and 21. You know, all these movies that we did, that was us growing. So our best years right now, these are my prime years, because now I have all this experience of 27 years. And now when I say I'm just getting started, because I started doing stand-up like 8 years ago, and that's really put me on point. So it's all coming together, and I'm excited to see what the next 20 years are gonna bring, because I'm gonna stay young. You know, that black don't crack unless you smoke it.
I mean, you look 16
Morgan
right
Freeman's
now.
still doing movies. I got at least 60 years to do movies.
You mentioned In Living Color, and then I saw that you're going to be on Sherman's Showcase.
Yeah.
With Diallo, who I know is on your show. What do you think just about like the comedic landscape now? We're getting kind of more of this sketch comedy and more Black writers, and just how has that sort of influenced, you think, the industry and your experience? I
mean, you know, I've been writing since, In Living Color, nobody wrote for me and Sean. It's like, we ain't gonna write for Keenan and Damon's 2 little untalented brothers. And that was Keenan and Damon talking. And so me and Sean had to learn to write. If we wanted to be on TV, we had to write. So we'd stay there all night long while everybody went home or whatever, getting ready for rehearsals. Me and Sean would be at A Living Color writing till 6 o'clock in the morning, all night long, drinking a big Pepsi. And then we go home, sleep 3-4 hours, come in and, you know, with our sketches, and we started getting sketches on. But that was the training ground for me and Sean starting to write television and create our own TV show. And that was the same thing that that same training got us into writing movies. So from day one, I've always been a writer and a creator. I'm glad to see other people starting to be infected with that same kind of that same artistry, because it's to me the best thing that you can do as a young African American or minority talent is to write. You have to be a creator. I don't wait on work. I create the work. So, you know, if I waited on Hollywood, I wouldn't have worked in the last 20 years. Barely. I would have probably picked 3 projects. Those are the only projects I would have done. Everything else I've ever done, I've written, starred, and produced.
That's so special. And like you said, you've been doing it for 20 years. You're just seeing it more and more now. But when I look at your family specifically, it's like you guys have always had to do that.
My brother taught me that.
Yeah, it wasn't a luxury. It was like you had to.
You have to. My brother Keenan says you have to be a force of nature. And he used to tell this to all of us at Living Color, and J-Lo, and, you know, you can't be a person of color and think that your talent is good enough. You have to be a force of nature. So when you see the work that people are like, do you sleep? I work. I grind. I'm trying to be a force of nature. I work 7 days a week. I be torn while I'm filming. I'm a crazy man. Because I know what I'm training myself to do. You know, work helps you endure more work. So what I'm training myself to do is something special. It's coming. I see it. Yeah.
From talking to you, I feel like you haven't slept in 30 years.
I just took a nap in the car. But before that, it was 30 years.
And you mentioned all the projects you've written, and one of them is White Chicks. And I know that recently Terry Crews kind of misspoke a little bit, saying like there's definitely going to be a White Chicks 2. But where are we with that? Because I know that's not quite where we're at, but that's where we want.
Well, if someone as buff as Terry said there's going to be a White Chicks 2, you going to tell him no?
I thought you told him no.
I said we'll slow up, but I didn't say no. I think we all would love to do the movie. It's just not a movie that you can do for cheap. It's like, you know, if the studios want to pay some money to do a movie, to make a good movie, because you want to make a movie better than the last movie of the same quality or better, you want to take it up a notch, you know, it's going to need a budget, you know, so I think we have a really funny one, and I think White Chicks will be like Austin Powers, where there was this movie that we put out years ago, and it made $137 million worldwide. I think if we do a sequel, that movie's so big, I think internationally, that's a $400 million movie. Yeah, I think the numbers on that movie would be crazy.
Because it keeps coming back. It has never gone away.
I know.
I'm constantly.
I get little 8-year-old girls coming up to me going, little white girls going, I love White Chicks. I'm like, you know that movie's about you, right? But to me, that's the best compliment, I think, with our form of comedy. The Wayans form is like, yeah, we send people up. Yeah, we break down stereotypes. But what I always think, and I think this is kind of training from my brother, which is it's important that the people that you send up laugh the loudest. If I do a joke on stage about black people should laugh the loudest. If I talk about Middle Eastern people should laugh the loudest. Because what happens is now the person that may be hurt by that joke is in on the joke. And they love the joke. They love that you took the time and that you really created it in a way that it was with kids' gloves. And and they don't feel like they're being laughed at, they're being laughed with. And I think we do that with our comedy. That's the thing about White Chicks. White Chicks, you know who loves White Chicks? White Chicks. It's their favorite movie. Don't Be a Menace. All the hood brothers love Don't Be a Menace. Yo, Road Dog. Because it's just the way we explore comedy, and it's always from a good place. We're not negative people. So it's there to make you laugh. And we grew up in a multicultural neighborhood in New York City. There was blacks, there was whites, there was gays, there was Jews, there was everybody. And you know what we did? Talk nonsense about each other every day. And what we learned to make each other laugh. Yeah.
You guys have been doing it successfully, so don't change a thing. We do have some questions from the audience.
Before you ask me questions, speaking of laughter, I got a couple of places I'm going to be doing stand-up comedy to make you laugh. So, excuse me if you will, a promo.
All right, go for it.
August 23rd through the 25th, I'm at Tommy T's in Pleasanton. That's up in the Bay. Yay. September 6th through 8th, I'm at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio. September 14th, big show at the MGM National Harbor Theater in D.C. Get your tickets, Chocolate City. That one's filling up quickly. That's September 14th. And then there's one more. September 19th through the 21st, I'm at Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester, New York.
Check it out, people.
I'll get that grind, bro. Already.
I'm exhausted just listening to your schedule. Who do we have first?
Hi, how
How
are
you doing?
I'm doing stand-up comedy too.
Oh, good.
So my question is, what qualities do other comedians have that you admire?
I think each comedian has, we're like the Avengers, man. Everyone got their own superpower. And that goes for every comedian throughout history. I'll tell you about, people that I admire and people that my peers is like Chris Rock. Chris Rock, brilliant comedian, great mind, great structure on his jokes. And when he performs his material, he's like a really funny preacher. You know what I mean? Or a really funny congressman. You know what I mean? It's like he the way he communicates with you, right? Dave Chappelle. I love the way Dave able to explore his material, and he'll sit back and he'll do the joke backwards, start with the punchline, walk you all the way through to the beginning of the thing, and then give you a different punchline. He likes to walk his material. And I like how he sits in the pocket. Dave he's not out there. He just sits in the pocket and he just does his thing. And that's great. Kevin roams the stage. Kevin's like Kevin's like a great motivational speaker or a salesman. You know what I mean? It's like, and everybody does something different. And if you're smart and you really respect the art of comedy, everybody's so negative. Everybody wants to look and go, what do you do wrong? You know what you should be studying? What they do right. And you don't steal what they do. You don't steal their words, but you can always be inspired to go, you know what? I need to come to the front of the stage more. I stand too back here, and that's not good, because when I'm talking to the audience, I need to let them know I'm not scared of them. You know what I mean? It's like you learn something from everybody and you can apply it. And then from there, all the formulas you read, every book you ever read, you can read 100 books on acting. What's going to happen at a point is you're going to develop your own method of acting. It's with anything you ever do. Same with stand-up. Over time, it's like there's a theory that like we're all snowflakes. You're never going to see snowflakes alike. Comedians, we're all comedians. You're never going to see two comedians alike because our journeys are different. I grew up in a house with 10 people, 6 of whom are really funny comedians. And for years, I didn't want to do comedy because I was like, shoot, when comedy, you talk about your life, your experiences. All these Negroes is talking about our life and experiences. So what the hell do I got to say? Because we share the same mom. But what happens is you realize you have your own experience. I have my own voice. We could talk about the same material, the same jokes, differently. We can explore the same story, me and Sean, differently, and it'll be funny 2 different ways. And that's the beauty, is just know your art, create your art, and be you.
How long do you think it took you, though, to really find your voice and stand-up specifically? Because I know that's a really kind of specific genre.
I would say right now I'm starting to really find it. I think right, I'm hitting that pocket. It's like Keanu in The Matrix. I did this. I had this special I was gonna do. Right. I had a dope hour, and I was like, yo, this is dope. And then like 4 months ago, I scrapped it. I was like, I don't want to do that second. I'm gonna do that one third. I was like, well, the cockiness to go, I'm gonna do that one third. I only did one. But what happened was I had a different one in my head, and I was like, no, this is the story I want to tell next. And so I built up this whole new hour, and it was really funny. It was getting standing ovations, and I was like, I don't like the ending. I'm going to put this at the ending, and here's what it's going to be. So right now, by switching this up, I know my next 3 to 4 specials, right? But I'm really focused on the one I'm doing next, and it's hot. Because before, I was talking about, like, the world, right? My first special, I just wanted to tell the jokes about the world and see what's funny about what's going on with today and, you know, pop cultural things. And I talked a little bit about my kids and my life, a little personal. This next one, all personal. And I was like, that's when you feel like, oh, Keanu in the Matrix. Because now it's not what's funny about the world, it's what's funny about me. What's funny about the things that hurt me. How do I make people laugh off the things that, you know, I'm not uncomfortable talking about it no more. So it feels good.
Yeah, it sounds like a real evolution.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. Sounds good. Next one.
How you doing, Marlon?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Cool. So you've been doing comedy 8 years.
Yeah,
Now-
8 or 9 now. 8.
Cool. If you still had the knowledge that you know of the industry, and your main goal, but you weren't famous, but you know everything you already know, and your main goal is to get an agent, how would you go about it, knowing what you know?
It depends on what I do. Am I a writer?
No, it's just stand-up comedian and writer, but stand-up comedian.
Well, if you're looking for a stand-up comedian, all right, well, I would try to do some showcases. I would send out my tape. I'd put together a reel. I'd, you know, talk to my friends and seeing if they knew any agencies. I would personally, my mama says, she was a job developer. She said, son, finding a job is a job. So if you want an agent to find you a job, then your job becomes finding the person that's going to find you the job. So do your stand-up at night, but what are you doing all day long? 7 days a week. You can sit there and look through, you know, you can Google. You don't have to look through an agency book. You can Google top 300 agencies, theatrical agencies in New York City. And you can send your picture and resume to every last single one of them. You can invite them down to your show. I'm going to do this show then. If you want to gather them in one room and you want to knock it out the park, if you're going to perform at the Comedy Cellar, you're performing Thursday night at 8 o'clock on the 8 o'clock show, I go up third, please come down. You do that enough, or send them a little tape of you going out. You can send your sizzle and make it easy for them. They don't have to leave the office. Go rock something. You got an iPhone? You have an iPhone. Right? So you could film an hour and get it to somebody. You don't have to send it through mail. We used to pay 25 cents for a stamp and an envelope to send your picture and resume out. You go on and you ain't got to hear you got mail. It just, and it's there. So finding a job is a job. If you want it, right? Obstacles, get over them. Everything's an obstacle. Here's the thing that holds me back. Get it done. Task, every day, get it done. Because fame and success is that every day. Tenacity, consistency, obstacles, getting over them. There is no end. Every time you get over another obstacle, another one comes up. There is no easy road. I've been doing this for 30 years. It has never been easy, ever. So whatever comes in, and learn this for script writing, that's the thing that makes it interesting. Without obstacles, the objective would mean nothing. So, your obstacle is find an agent, Negro. No, but get it. It's out there. You got it.
Next one.
Hello.
How you doing?
Okay. I interviewed you like 2 years ago, so.
I kind of remember your face. Was it in D.C. or something?
Charlotte.
I knew it was somewhere. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing?
So you write, produce, act, stand up, hosting, all of it. Have you ever thought about doing a reality series, like following your life on the road or anything of that nature?
I don't know if I want to do a reality series. I think I would do I would rock a Beyonce. I would do like, yo, come grab some cameras and come watch what the process is leading up to this special. But I don't know if if we Wayans we don't like our business like that. It's like, get your camera out my face. I just want to eat. I'm just not that desperate for fame 24 hours like that. I like my privacy. You know what I mean? I want to poo with the door closed. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
That's fair. And honestly, you have enough going on. I don't think you need more.
Yes.
Camera crews following you around and stuff.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
I have to say again, Sextuplets, congrats on it.
Thank you so much.
It's really funny. I think audiences are going to love it. I can't wait to see more of these characters, honestly. Like Russell, for real, I was like, he could have his own thing.
Yeah, everybody says Russell could spin off, Don could spin off.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite?
Don in the prison scene, like that was in your face, and like that was pretty good.
But Russell in the prison scene was hilarious. That was hilarious. My favorite is Ethan.
Ethan?
But that's what I like. everybody, like when we did test audiences, right? Everybody had somebody, a different one that they like. Some people like little crazy baby Pete. Like everybody, some people like Jasper because he's so dark. But that's what I like is the fact that either way it goes, no matter who you like, you still liking me. I'm good. No, it's funny. He actually scores the best.
Alan?
Yeah.
Because he's just like your everyday guy?
Yeah, and they liked that he was a likable guy. That made me feel good.
Right.
Because I know how funny all the other guys are, and he's like the straight guy in the movie. But the fact that they liked the nice guy in the movie means that they were rooting for the character, and they was rooting for the story, and he had the responsibility of that. And that's what I was like, all right, good, then I did my job.
That is a takeaway. He carries the heart of the film
Yes.
about family and connection and
Yes.
finding your people, which is, like you said, the most beautiful takeaway of Sextuplets.
Yes.
So thank you again for creating this. Your mind's a beautiful place. And if
Well,
you
thank you,
guys
baby.
want to check out Sextuplets, it'll be available on Netflix on August 16th. Put your hands together for Marlon Wayans.
Thank you.